Chosen one, tonight, a powerful stirring is taking place in the deepest realm, and you are being called to pause and listen before continuing with the familiar rhythms of life. You have not come to these words merely to seek a passing emotion or a moment of encouragement that will soon be forgotten. Something important needs to be brought into the light. A calling that has approached you many times, in silence. Yet you have not created enough space to recognize it. Therefore, set aside your worries for a while. The unfinished work, and even the need to understand everything immediately. I have not come to make you tremble before punishment. Nor do I want you to believe that divine love exists only when you are perfect. I have come to remind you that prolonged delay can harden the heart, causing you to become accustomed to ignoring what you have already known for a long time. Now is the moment to return, not in panic, but with honesty and awareness. I have touched you many times in very gentle ways. Sometimes it was a thought that appeared in the middle of the night, causing you to know that something needed to change. Sometimes it was the loss of peace as you continued along an old path. At other times, an ordinary conversation left a profound question within you, or a closed door forced you to look at the place you had tried to avoid. You called these things coincidences, exhaustion, or moments of weakness. Yet in your deepest place, you knew they were not entirely meaningless. I have continually reminded you that certain habits must be laid down. Certain relationships need to be reconsidered. And certain promises you made to yourself must be kept. Yet many times you allowed the noise of life to cover that awareness. You became busy so that you would not have to face it. Sought distractions so that you would not hear the question echoing within your heart, and hoped that the uneasiness would disappear on its own. But, my child, peace does not return when you run faster than the calling. It returns only when you have enough courage to stop and ask honestly, what am I neglecting? What do I already know but still refuse to admit? I do not condemn you for being tired, nor do I judge you for the days when you lost your direction. I understand the pressures you have endured, the disappointments that caused you to withdraw, and the times you opened your heart only to be wounded. That is precisely why today's calling is not the shout of anger, but the awakening voice of love. I do not break down the door to violate your freedom. I only shake the walls that fear has built around your heart. Some shelters once protected you in the past, but have now become cages. Some ways of living helped you survive a difficult season. But if you continue holding on to them, they will cause you to miss the growth awaiting you. Look back over the recent days. Perhaps you have felt a heaviness without a clear reason, found that your sleep is no longer peaceful, or experienced loneliness even while surrounded by people. Perhaps relationships that were once close have suddenly become distant. Certain plans have been unexpectedly delayed, and doors you were certain would open have closed before you. Do not immediately interpret all these things as evidence that you have been rejected. Sometimes disruption is simply the way life reveals what no longer belongs. When a room needs to be renovated, the furniture must be moved, and dust will rise before everything becomes clean and bright. In the same way, when your inner life is being rearranged, the things once hidden may become more visible. This can be uncomfortable, but it does not necessarily mean destruction. It may be preparation. I want you to understand that urgency does not mean you must panic. Some decisions need to be made soon, but they must still be born from clarity. Do not rush to cut everyone off. Distrust every person, or Assume that disaster is certainly approaching merely because you feel uneasy. Sit quietly long enough to distinguish the voice of fear from the reminder of wisdom. Fear confuses you, pressures you to react immediately, and makes you believe there are no other choices. Pure guidance may be strong, but it still leaves a place of light within you where you can reflect and act with dignity. If something is disturbing you, look honestly at the facts. Seek clear evidence and ask for advice from someone trustworthy. I do not ask you to abandon reason in order to follow vague feelings. I want your intuition to walk together with awareness, so that every step you take becomes more secure. A door is opening before you, but it is not a miraculous escape from every responsibility. It is the door of returning to honesty, returning to the promise you once made to yourself, and returning to the pure things you have always known but have not fully lived. You do not need to wait until you become perfect before entering. You only need to stop justifying what is making you smaller. If you know that a habit is filling your mind with confusion, begin limiting it. If you recognize that a relationship repeatedly wounds your dignity, establish new boundaries. If you have delayed an apology, a right decision, or a task that needs to be completed, take the first step. The new door does not open through great declarations, but through obedience in small and consistent things. I also know that you fear you have missed too many opportunities. You look back at years of hesitation and wonder whether anything good is still waiting for you. Listen to me. Mercy does not measure you by the number of times you delayed. As long as you can still recognize the truth, still desire to change, and remain willing to move toward the light, you have not gone too far. Yet do not use mercy as a reason to continue postponing. A door may remain open for a long time, but you cannot stand forever upon the threshold and call that faith. A moment will come when you must place your foot forward, choose a direction, and accept that growth always requires leaving behind something familiar. I am not threatening you with an invisible clock. I am simply reminding you that time is precious and life should not be wasted in endless indecision. Your name is being called not so that you may consider yourself greater than others, but so that you remember your life carries responsibility and purpose. You are called to bring peace into confusion, truth into places of dishonesty, and compassion into spaces that have grown cold. Yet you cannot fulfill this calling if you continually neglect the care of your inner world. Stop searching for every answer outside yourself while your heart has repeatedly shown you what must be done. Ask less about who will recognize you, and begin asking whether your choices are making you more honest, peaceful, and responsible. A genuine calling does not make you arrogant. It makes you humble, because you understand that every gift carries the responsibility to use it to strengthen others rather than exalt yourself. Tonight, you do not need to make an enormous promise. Begin with sincere silence. Turn off the noise for a brief moment. Place your hand over your heart and acknowledge what you have been avoiding. Do not decorate the truth, and do not condemn yourself. Simply name what has been drawing you away from peace. Then choose one specific action for tomorrow. It may be a conversation that needs to happen, a boundary that must be established, rest you have refused yourself, or a plan that needs to be restarted. When your actions agree with the truth, the noise within you will gradually become quiet. Not because every problem disappears immediately, but because you are no longer turning your back on what you know. Chosen one, I am standing beside you, not with eyes burning in anger, but with the steadiness of a protector who does not want you to continue approaching the edge of self-abandonment. I will not force you, because genuine love always respects choice. Yet, I will continue to remind you. Illuminate what is hidden, and shake what is false until you have enough courage to step out. Awaken, not so that you may live in fear, but so that you may live consciously. Listen, not because you are afraid of punishment, but because you understand that truth can protect you from choices that will wound you. The door remains open, and what you must do is not run through it in panic, but walk across the threshold with humility, wisdom, and a determination to stop abandoning the pure calling that has echoed within you many times. You have not come to this moment through meaningless coincidence, but because your life is still being guided toward a purpose that no adversity can erase. The world may have repeatedly shown you frightening things, unpredictable changes, closed doors, and pressures that seem to follow one another as though you were required to carry everything alone. But I want you to lift your head above the cloud of anxiety and see with different eyes. What is taking place before you is not the whole truth. Some roads are being opened silently. Some paths are being blocked so that you do not enter places that would harm you. Certain dangers have been kept at a distance without your ever knowing. Protection does not always mean that every difficulty disappears. Often, it is revealed in the fact that you remain standing after something that should have caused you to collapse, and that you still preserve light after long days covered by confusion. I have seen the times when you believed you were completely alone. You walked through corridors of uncertainty, trying to appear strong while countless unanswered questions filled your heart. You once thought that because you could not see the hand supporting you, perhaps no one was protecting you. But silence does not mean absence. Some interventions happen too gently for you to recognize them at the time. A delayed appointment may have kept you from trouble. The ending of a relationship may have closed a path that would have led to many years of pain. A failed plan may have prevented you from placing your entire future upon an unstable foundation. You often see only what you lost, while I see what was prevented. Therefore, do not measure protection only by the number of difficulties you avoided. Look also at the number of times you were led through difficulty without losing what was most precious within you. Imagine yourself standing in a land filled with the sounds of conflict. Around you are threats, doubts, old memories, and countless negative predictions about tomorrow. Yet you do not stand there as someone without refuge. There is protection along the road you travel, and messengers of light have been sent to support what belongs to righteousness. They do not come to display power or make you proud, but to remind you that darkness does not have the final word. What belongs to truth does not need to negotiate with lies. What is built through love does not have to bow before intimidation. You may not see with your natural eyes the movements taking place, but every time you choose goodness instead of retaliation, calmness instead of panic, and integrity instead of shortcuts, you walk within a protection deeper than any visible wall. You are precious in the eyes of the one who created you. But this does not mean you will never face trials. A person who is loved may still pass through storms, but the storms do not have the right to define them. The adversary may attempt to plant confusion, cause you to doubt yourself, or use temporary failures to convince you that your purpose has been destroyed. But a plan formed against you does not automatically become your ending. Certain words may have been spoken with the intention of wounding you, but they cannot change your identity. Some people may have underestimated your ability, but their judgment cannot close the road that maturity, faithfulness, and wisdom are opening. You do not need to live obsessed with who may be opposing you. Remain aware. Establish boundaries when necessary, but do not give darkness so much of your attention that you forget the light guiding you. I also want you to understand that guidance does not remove your responsibility to choose. Every decision still requires consideration. Every step still requires honesty. And every door must still be examined with wisdom. Protection does not mean you can act impulsively and expect every consequence to disappear. On the contrary, knowing that you are being protected should make you live more carefully, because true peace creates enough quietness for you to see clearly what should be done. Pay attention to trustworthy advice. Observe the fruit produced by each road, and do not allow temporary emotion to determine long-term matters. Guidance often comes as a feeling of steadiness amid many voices. It does not pressure you to prove anything or force you to betray good values for immediate gain. Fear, however, may still come very near. It appears when bills remain unpaid, when a relationship begins to fracture, when work becomes unstable, or when the future is hidden beneath thick fog. I do not ask you to pretend that fear does not exist. I want you to recognize it, name it accurately, and then refuse to let it sit in the place of authority over your life. Fear often speaks with great certainty, causing you to believe that the worst outcome will surely happen. It uses one failure to predict your entire future, one rejection to conclude that every door is closed, and one season of scarcity to convince you that your life will always remain insufficient. But a powerful feeling is not the same as truth. You can feel afraid and still walk forward. You can tremble and still make a right decision. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is refusing to give fear the authority to choose for you. When anxiety rises, return to stillness. Breathe slowly. Examine what is actually happening instead of what your mind is imagining, and divide the burden into steps you can take today. If a problem requires help, seek someone capable of supporting you. If a conversation must begin, do not postpone it forever because you fear the response. If you need rest to recover clarity, give yourself permission to pause. Faith does not require you to deny your limits. It helps you face them without despising yourself. Self-control does not make emotions disappear immediately, but it prevents you from acting merely because the emotions feel overwhelming. Every time you choose to respond from peace, you weaken fear's authority and strengthen the mature person I am building within you. Remember Esther, a young woman placed in a situation where silence appeared safer than speaking. Before her stood the power of a royal court. Behind her was danger threatening an entire people. Within her was a battle between fear and responsibility. She did not rush forward impulsively. She prepared her heart, sought support, waited for the right time, and then stepped forward with courage refined in silence. What made her strong was not the absence of fear, but the understanding that certain moments require a person to place what is right above personal safety. Her wisdom opened the way for circumstances to change, while the plot that once appeared unstoppable eventually collapsed beneath the pride of the one who created it. You may not stand in a palace, But you also face your own Esther moments. They come when you must speak the truth in a room where everyone else chooses silence. They come when you need to protect someone vulnerable. Establish a boundary against manipulation, or leave a situation that is eroding your dignity. It may also be the moment when you must believe in your ability enough to submit an application. Begin a project, ask for help, or bring a long-standing cycle to an end. These choices may cause you to tremble, but I do not require you to possess all the strength before you take the first step. I ask only that you remain faithful to the light given for today. When you take one right step, you will receive enough strength for the next. Therefore, do not view present dangers as greater than the protection surrounding you. Do not magnify the power of those who oppose you until you forget that they also possess limits. Do not allow the confusion outside you to become confusion within you. You do not need to fight every voice. Explain yourself to everyone, or react to every provocation. Some battles are won through silence. Some doors are protected through one firm refusal. And some schemes collapse when you stop giving them your attention and energy. Save your strength for building what is good, caring for those you love, and fulfilling the responsibilities entrusted to you. Light does not need to chase every shadow. It only needs to continue shining. I remain close to you through every decision, every night filled with thoughts, and every morning when you must begin again. You have never been abandoned. Even on the days when you could not feel support, messengers of peace are still fulfilling their work. Wrong roads are still being closed, and good things are being arranged according to an order you cannot yet fully see. Your part is not to live obsessed with every danger, but to preserve a pure heart, an alert mind, and upright steps. Lift your head, my child. Fear may knock at the door, but you do not have to invite it in as master. Confusion may surround you, but it is not permitted to build a home within you. You are being led through this season by hidden protection. And when you look back, you will recognize that many things that once terrified you were unable to prevent you from becoming the person you were called to be. Recognize that fear has repeatedly tried to keep you in scarcity, cause you to question your worth, and convince you that great dreams could never belong to you. It does not always arrive with a violent roar. It slips quietly into the mind through small whispers. You will never have enough. You are not capable enough to go farther. You have missed your time. Or freedom belongs only to those who are more fortunate. Because these words were repeated for so long, you may have mistaken them for truth, unconsciously reduced your desires, refused opportunities, and prepared for failure even while the door remained open. But today, I want you to look directly at them and name them correctly. They are only voices formed from pain, anxiety, and old memories. They have no authority to determine who you will become. You were not called to live with your head bowed beneath the shadow of the past, but to rise with the awareness that what happened cannot erase the goodness still being cultivated within you. I know there were financial seasons that kept you awake at night, unexpected events that disrupted every plan, and days when you had to choose among several important needs while the resources in your hands were too few. You once viewed every setback as evidence that you could never move forward, and every closed door as confirmation that life was against you. Yet not every delay is failure, nor is every shortage an ending. Some seasons teach you management. Some losses reveal what is truly lasting. Some doors close so that you will not travel farther along an unsuitable road. I do not deny your pain, but neither will I allow you to use that pain as a prophecy over your future. You can learn from the past without being imprisoned by it. You can acknowledge unwise decisions without turning them into lifelong sentences. As this truth begins to take root, a new movement will arise within you. You will no longer awaken prepared for the worst, but will begin to see each new day as ground that can be planted. Confidence will gradually replace panic, not because every problem disappears immediately, but because you no longer permit those problems to determine your dignity. Faith will replace dark predictions, not through blindness, but through trust that there is always one wise step you can take. Peace will replace confusion when you stop trying to control every result and focus upon what has been entrusted to you today. Then the way you walk will change. The words you speak will change. And the way you view opportunities will also change. You will no longer enter a room believing that you must beg for approval, but will come prepared, humble, and confident that the good you carry has value. The confidence I desire to build within you is not based upon the belief that you have never made mistakes or can solve everything alone. It is formed through the understanding that you are not alone on the journey. Just as a child can rest peacefully because someone is caring for them, you must learn to lay down the habit of constantly expecting disaster. Yet trust does not mean abandoning responsibility and waiting for resources to appear without effort. A child who trusts in care must still grow, learn, fulfill responsibilities, and use wisely what has been given. Therefore, I do not call you to live passively under the name of waiting for a miracle. I call you to cooperate with guidance, develop your skills, complete your work faithfully, organize your finances clearly, seek sound advice, and dare to walk through the right doors when they open. You must also broaden your understanding of provision. It is not only an unexpected amount of money appearing in your account. Although material resources may sometimes be greatly needed, provision may come through an idea that helps you solve a problem in a new way, a skill awakened at the right time, a recommendation that brings you into the proper environment, or someone who sees an ability you had forgotten. It may be the clarity that helps you avoid an unsafe investment, the courage to leave a job that is exhausting you, or the discipline to turn a small talent into a stable source of income. Do not stare only at one possible form and ignore the other roads being opened. Many times, the answer does not arrive in the form you expected, yet it still contains exactly what you truly need. Doors will open that you once lacked the confidence to enter. Opportunities will appear when you believe every option has been exhausted. Ordinary encounters may connect you with people who understand your vision, respect your values, and are willing to build something meaningful with you. Yet do not immediately assume that everyone who approaches is a destined companion. True provision always walks together with discernment. The right person will not require you to abandon your principles, cause you to live in constant uneasiness, or demand that you exchange your dignity for a vague promise. Slow down enough to examine the fruit of a connection. Listen to the peace within you, and observe whether words are supported by actions. A good door does not only offer immediate benefit, it also helps you become more honest, mature, and useful. I will also awaken within you ideas that fear once extinguished. There were times when you considered a dream too large and did not dare to begin. or believed you needed every resource before you were allowed to take a step. Yet most works of lasting value begin as a small seed cared for with patience. You do not need to see the entire result on the first day. Begin with what you can do today. Write down the idea. Learn a skill. Test a method. Improve a product. Or seek someone with experience. Creativity becomes a resource when it is joined with discipline. A flash of inspiration becomes innovation only when you possess enough patience to build. Revise. And continue even when no one is applauding. When increase arrives, I want you to know how to preserve it. Some people pray for more, but have never learned to manage what they already possess. So the resources disappear shortly after arriving. Do not consider planning, saving, or establishing limits to be evidence of weak trust. These are signs of maturity. Know where your money is going. Distinguish between need and impulse. Prepare for necessary days. And do not allow pressure from others to control your choices. Generosity must also be guided by wisdom. You can help without taking responsibility for everything. You can love without allowing yourself to be exploited. You can share while still protecting the foundation of your family. I do not want increase to become another burden. I want it to produce freedom, order, and the ability to create what is good. Remember that true success is not measured only by how greatly others are impressed by what you accomplish. It is also seen in the peace you preserve when significant opportunities arrive, in the kindness you show to those who can offer you nothing in return, and in the fact that you do not forget the difficult days you once endured. When others ask how you were able to rise after falling so many times, the answer will not be found only in one dramatic event, but in hundreds of small decisions made quietly. You chose not to surrender, chose to learn rather than complain, chose to correct your habits, and chose faithfulness even before you saw results. These are the things that create a lasting breakthrough. Therefore, do not wait until you are completely free from fear before beginning. Courage is not the absence of anxiety, but the decision that anxiety will no longer drive. When the old voice says, "You will never have enough," answer with a clear plan and a practical action. When doubt says, "The dream is too great," divide it into smaller steps and complete the first one. When the past says you always fail, remember, every time you rose again. I do not promise that every road will be free of difficulty, but I remind you that difficulty has no authority to define the ending. You are entering a season in which clarity, the right relationships, and creative ability will begin to converge. Do not allow impatience to cause you to ignore preparation, and do not allow caution to become endless delay. Move forward with open eyes, a calm mind, and hands ready to work. What will astonish you will not merely be an open door, but the person you have become by the time you are ready to enter it. When the change becomes visible, those around you will be encouraged, not by boasting, but by living evidence that someone once imprisoned by fear can be restored, rebuilt, and led into a broader life. You no longer need to bow before the lie of scarcity. Stand firm, do what is right, and continue moving forward, because your future is not locked by what you have endured. It is being opened through the faithful choices you begin making today.